I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green, and I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit, cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly, better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder, and I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, you guys. You know, the people who have actually done the work in the industry. It's always good to highlight them because, frankly, you guys, I want to talk to those who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take all this information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It's one of the many, many reasons why I proudly fly this flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. I do have a guest on today, and we're just going to drop some knowledge, you guys. We're going to talk about the current environment, what's going on, how to continue to navigate through it, and really just leverage this guy's experience in there, because he's been doing this for, a couple of years, like four or 5 days, I think. I'm being facetious, but no, we'll bring him up in a second, you guys. But before I do any of that, as always, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. You guys, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or shipper, we all need access to trailers at some point in time, and we all like making money too, because you get paid to move these trailers on top of the revenue that you can get by loading these trailers out, you guys. Like, this is a real deal. So they got a bunch of trailers out in San Diego, California, you guys, and they pay between $1,100 and $2,200 per trailer. You guys, they have them going out to Oklahoma. They have them going out to Arkansas. They have them going to Virginia. They have them going to Illinois, Kentucky, and yeah, you guys. And then they also have some rentals available too. So again, I had to recently do this for a customer of mine where they needed to transition facilities from one location to the next, and they needed to secure some short-term and long-term rentals to store the product in, you guys. And then they have these out in South Carolina, Duncan, South Carolina, and Texas as well, you guys. So there's some options out there for you to expand your sales approach. So hit them up, you guys, vhubapp.com. My man, Zach Lonergan and Stacy Steen, they'll be in the audience. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Louis Montano, what is up? Good morning. Tracy St. Clair on YouTube, good morning. Flo, good morning to you. Mark Jones, create a good day, y'all. Amen to that. Sonny Sharma, good fucking hump day morning. Freight Freaks coming in hot. Stephen Thompson, good morning. Bob Haasradi, good morning. Let me see here. I'll answer this here in a second. Zena, good morning to you. It says, morning, Chris. I heard you have a partner to run your, yeah. Do you split sales and operations? So we are, the way that it's set up is where we're both doing sales, but my primary focus is on sales. His primary focus is on operations, and we split those duties up. But we are both doing sales right now and operations, but we will split that eventually as we continue to grow out there. What is up, Emmanuel? Thanks for tuning in. All right, I got to bring my man back on here, Tim Breckenridge. He is the black on black behind him. I love it.
I mean, it's actually gray, kind of. This is me though. Quick story. I was getting fitted. Bought a custom suit yesterday. Okay. And the guy's like, what's your style? And I was dressed like this, all black, like black joggers, black shirt. And I was like, this is it. And he's like, well, we can get you a custom jogger suit. And I'm like, nah, but this is me, this is me at conferences. I'm just, I'm not trying to be something I'm not. So
100% agree with that sentiment, Tim. I mean, it's kind of why I wear orange shirts all the time and, backwards hats just like that, because frankly, I do it to fucking stand out in a crowd. For starters, because you've been to as many conferences as I've been to, and everybody's dressed the same, right? So
yeah, I don't do blazers and button. I mean, no offense to the people that do, but it's not me. So.
At all. Adolfo Rodriguez says, is that a green screen effect? No, that's just literally a sheet on a wall behind him, I'm pretty sure.
I have so many shelves and cabinets that I've bought to put all my books up, all my little widgets. I have so many things on my desk. I just haven't done it yet. So maybe next time. Maybe next time the wall of shame will look good, but right now it's still black. Been this way
That's
for a year and a
funny.
half. So
That's funny. Papa Freight, what is up? That's right. Time for some real news. Eva, good morning. Nick Erdman, good morning. Let's fucking go. Thanks for tuning in. Dude, so what's new? What's new out in your world? I think anytime anybody wants to scroll through social media or any of the news sites, it's so negative out there, right? Everything's falling apart. For the most part, I think everybody should just give up. I'm being very fucking sarcastic with that statement, but it kind of just seems like that's the overwhelming sentiment out there.
well, yeah, I mean, I think there's two sides to the market. Obviously, there's two sides to the capacity side. You have your direct asset side, and then the brokers. I think that I don't believe that it's as difficult as everybody says it is. We were talking about this before the show. You just have to work a little bit harder. You have to uncover the opportunity. There's plenty of opportunity out there. I think there's still the freight volumes compared to where they were 4 years ago are still, in my opinion, through the roof. But I just think that like you said, you have to work a little bit harder. You have to find the nuances. You have to get a little bit more creative. At the end of the day, a broker is a broker, on our side of the business, your side of the business. And it's just trying to find how you can really provide a little bit more value maybe than the next guy. Price and service are expected. So what can you do a little bit differently? A lot of our customers are relationships that we've held for, the last 2 or 3 companies that I've been at, and people that we've known, and, really kind of doing business on reputation and execution. The new opportunities are still there. And again, that's, we have an internal strategy to hook that new business. And, that's what we're doing. Not to go off on a tangent, but a little bit of what we were talking about.
Go off on a tangent, please.
I mean, I think that on the asset side of the business, there's a lot, for your transactional guys, there's a lot of struggle right now. And as we were talking, dispatchers don't know how to dispatch. If you're playing on the spot boards, you're in trouble. Like that to me is where that's going to be what changes the market dynamic over the next probably 6 to 12 months, is those guys are just going to fall out.
Yeah.
And then obviously, to continue my tangent, that's going to at some point create more demand from the larger players. And then as a broker, our strategy really is having those conversations with our larger carriers saying, hey, when that demand comes back, how do we keep your capacity in our network? How do you remain a strategic partner for us so that our shippers know that we're going to be there for them? Because that's what's demands is what's going to change rates.
Yeah.
And now, today, making sure that we're not pricing in a way that, we're undercutting everybody, because we need those carriers.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. Mark Jones, every superhero has their own uniform. That's right, man.
Thanks, Mark.
Julia Castillo, what is up? Good. Julia. Okay. The different last name, Julia. One Call Logistics in the house. She's got a phenomenal marketing approach. I'm assuming Samantha Jones is directing this at me. That's all I'm going to say there. Great. I don't. In my show, goddammit, that's my compliment. Fritz says, Tim, I rock the same setup, keeps it clean for Zoom. Fritz, what's going on, man?
Sure does.
House, good morning. Ryan Muhammad, what it do? I love it. Dude, because I'm out there, I'm pricing freight long term right now. And because RFPs are coming about. Obviously, Green Screens is somebody who I use in my business. Fortunately, they're an advertiser on the show as well, but I literally have used them for my RFP strategy here. And it has uncovered so much more realistic data that comes along with that accurate pricing model. Because I don't believe in driving pricing down, right? Like I believe in providing a fair, accurate market price for the freight. And I also take into consideration for the long term, right? Because I think that the RFP, I put it out there, I actually caught a lot of heat for this, and that's fine, because people thought I was like talking literally like today that the RFPs were going to be monthly. But I would say that in the future, with technology and data that's out there, you're going to be able to compile a lot of this stuff so quick, where it's going to be a lot of real-time pricing, where I don't see a need for a 12-month bid cycle anymore.
Right.
No, that's not this year or probably even next year, you guys. I could see it evolving. When Tim and I first got in the industry, you guys, we fucking faxed rate confirmations. Okay. So take that into consideration when I'm comparing stuff right now. But I think, like, if you're looking at it from a long-term pricing strategy out there, I think that the market is going to, like, the spot market's going to see life breathed back into it later this year. I think after Labor Day. But I truly feel if you're going to price out long-term freight right now, I think you're good for the next 12 months. I don't, outside of a major geopolitical or natural disaster shakeup, I don't see it fucking overwhelmingly recovering, because it's going to take some more supply leaving the market on both the broker and the carrier side, unfortunately, before I think that there's going to be a very large rebound.
Right. Yeah. I think that, to your point on the dynamic pricing side, utilizing programs like green screens, all the pricing modules have it, and I don't want to just start name dropping all of them to shit on green screens because they're a sponsor of the show. But I think that, well, green screens, we'll use green screens as an example. I think that they would be a great partner to start providing kind of dynamic pricing. We had a conversation at Food Shippers with a larger food manufacturer that wanted, kind of live API pricing for drop trailers. Like, hey, what's it going to cost today for you to get a drop trailer in? And they were going to, take one location live with it, and green screens was going to be potentially a big part of, our execution for that. So to your point, I think that utilizing that technology, it's going to help. The month to month RFPs would be, I think it'd be great for a portion of, I guess, transactional freight, but you still have mid-sized carriers that run a certain network, and that would potentially hurt them. They rely on running certain freight in certain regions all the time. That's where their trailers are. And then if they're having to reposition equipment, monthly, that costs them money. Yeah. So maybe it looks a little different where you're running a portion of your business with brokers every month, you're rebidding. And that business is going to run the spot market. And then you do have your true, committed long-term contractual freight on the asset side. My brain still thinks about the asset side so much because, like, that's the lifeblood of our business. Yes, obviously you need the freight from the shippers, but we have to create an environment that's healthy for those asset partners that are doing business the right way. There's still obviously so many that do it the wrong way and are just shitheads, as Kyle and I like to call them.
Dude, it's very fucking true, man. And that's why, I mean, that's the first time you and I ever talked, it was very much aligned around what that is because, as a broker, a lot of people, it's fucking baffles me how many brokers think that they can operate their business without carriers, right?
Right.
In repeat carriers, because again, if you go back to the flavor of the week or the month and it's, double broker bad, fraud bad, yada, 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 yada. Well, what the fuck are you going to do about it? Because if your strategy is one and done carriers, you expose yourself exponentially to all of that shit. Because I
don't get it. I don't understand how you can get double brokered and have your MC stolen. Like, you just have to be. God, I mean, I don't want to shit on people.
Yeah,
but because it's been in a little circle. It's been the topic. I've seen videos posted on LinkedIn from somebody that had a double broker on the phone. Like, why are you wasting your time with that shithead? We probably get 150 emails a day from double brokers. Like, one, if you can't recognize it in their first email, like Tulsa Corp, for example, like you see them everywhere. Dude, they're a double broker. Like, you can almost pick it out by looking at their email. But if you don't have Highway, like if you don't have, I mean, Carrier 411's okay. But like, to me, Highway is the greatest thing ever. And if you're not utilizing something like Highway or Highway, and I'm going to keep pushing Highway because we use it and I love it. I think you're just like,
you need to use something, right? Because that's the thing is it's like nobody's using. I think a lot of like they're not actually paying attention to the data that is out there because, frankly, I mean, you should never rely on 100% of technology to vet who you're working with, right? Because
Just be
I,
smart.
yeah, I'm all about technology, right? Like I'm an owner of a tech company for fuck's sakes as well. But I think that a lot of it is people become too reliant on one direction or another, and they're like removing the human element away from doing your fucking job. Because, like, yeah, there's a lot of great stuff out there that prohibits a lot of these companies from even getting set up with you, right? There's a lot of great software that is out there for people to use to onboard. But again, like for me, man, it's like when they're onboarded, why aren't you reusing them time and time again if you know they are doing the right thing, right? If they're doing the right job, that's where it is, and that's my big focus is. And then furthermore, what a lot of people don't talk about is a lot of this software that's out there punishes the carriers that are doing the right thing because they don't meet certain criteria that's out there. But it's like, when you find them and they're doing the right thing and you're working with them, you need to reutilize in-network carriers. That's the whole point of our platform at Broker Carrier, right? Is because we need to reuse in-network carriers efficiently to haul the same freight time and time again for them. Yes, we have all the security steps in place that prohibits a lot of those small, those shit bags from getting set up. But again, when they're set up, when you have the right carrier set up, why aren't we reusing them? Right? Like, why aren't you taking that capacity? Because again, brokers, hard fucking pill to swallow. You don't have a business without carriers. And when you find the right carrier partners out there that run the similar lanes time and time again, why aren't you reaching out to them? Well, I'm always baffled by that, Tim. I really am, because
posting freight is easy.
Oh, I know.
That's it. Posting freight is easy. And you know what? If you're moving 200 loads a day and you're onboarding 25 carriers a day for those 200 loads, I'm sorry, I know that's a small percentage, but that's still too much.
Correct.
If you're running the same shit every day, every week, why aren't, again, even on the spot freight, like you should be going to the spot boards looking for the freight that you know fits the carriers that you already have onboarded.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Mount Juliet, Tennessee to St. Cloud. I know, like, when one of our customers has it, we know that we have 1,000 reefer carriers, not 1,000 reefer carriers, but a good solid core of reefer carriers that can haul the dry freight from Mount Juliet to St. Cloud. And we're not going to post it, and it's going to go right to them, or it's going to go out in an email blast, say, hey, we've got this load again. And you know what? Then they can fight for it internally. Like, and it's not rocket science. It's really not. It's just people don't want to work hard. People are lazy, and just go the extra step. Like, I'm going to shout out to SRS Freight. They're out of Laredo, I think. They're 5 months old. Had I listened to what the tech was telling me, like, hey, stay away from this carrier. Well, we had the extra conversation with them. We looked at their, even made them send over their scheduled auto insurance, pictures of their trucks. And now they haul Dallas to Houston for us every other day for a new customer.
Yeah.
Where before I probably wouldn't have worked with them. But you know what? It's just like, be smart, go the extra mile. And then we talk about carriers making sure they're utilizing their equipment correctly and efficiently. Like, we need to as a broker, like, we need to utilize our carriers efficiently.
Yeah.
If you're turning over a certain percentage of your freight every day and onboarding carriers, you're doing a disservice. And again, it's just like, you could probably cut half your workforce if you did things the right way.
I mean, fuck, they already do.
I don't want to talk about firing people, but
no, I know. I know what you mean. But dude, but I personally think with the right technology, you can hire the right way as opposed to mass hire, mass fire, which you see every freight cycle out there, right? Like that. Let's just call a fucking spade to spade. That's what we've seen over the last couple of years. Mass fire, mass hire, mass fire again, right? I know you need to use the term layoff, but if you're fucking firing people, let's call it what it is.
Right.
And I think, though, that a lot of it boils down to, again, because technology isn't going to save you at the end of the day. Yes, it is a phenomenal tool. I am all about technology. I am all about automating everything, but it's not going to save you, because you can't automate somebody fucking actually knowing how to sell freight, right? And how to go in there and have a strategic conversation with an enterprise level shipper or an enterprise level carrier about a freight mix and balancing that out. You can't automate that. And I think that people just become too reliant on one thing or another. But again, it's just like when these guys are set up with you, it's just like a customer. When a customer is set up with you and they're legit, you got to do everything in your power to keep them working with you, right? Same thing on the carrier side, man. When you set them up, man, you should be giving them every fucking opportunity to run with you all the time. Because here's a harsh reality for a lot of people. Good providers are a minority, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's not like just because you have a fucking business, all of a sudden you're good. There's a lot of shitty providers out there. And what a lot of people find themselves in, Tim, you're only as good as their last experience with a broker if you're a broker, right? On the carrier side and the customer side alike. So it's like if you're truly doing something different, you will stand out like a fucking sore thumb in a very short amount of time.
Right.
But you can't just say, oh, hey, we have this and this, and then just not fucking care, right? Because again, technology is phenomenal. I'm all about it. But if you don't fucking care about your customer's freight, there is no amount of anything that is going to make you a successful business person.
100% agree. And I think going back to the little carrier conversation again, on the front end, when you get those RFPs from your enterprise shippers, where they're, you do have to go in and have those strategic conversations with them and understanding their networks and who they're delivering into and, what the one ways look like. Turning around and taking, your core carrier sales team and start sourcing for that RFP now. Like once you get it, start the sourcing now. Get the rates from your carriers, put them in, go back and say, hey, these are the rates that we have from our carriers. Sorry, green screens. Like they didn't come from, DAT or C4 or green screens. Like these are real rates. And this is, this is the data behind those rates. This is why we're pricing the way we're pricing. And even, if you want to say, hey, these are the carriers that are behind the rates. And I think that you get a little bit more trust from your shippers there when you're being a little bit more transparent. And again, then once you get the freight, you can kind of just tender out to those guys. They know they're going to have the freight. And then you can go to the next RFP. And really, you're working harder on the front end and a little bit smarter on the back end.
What's my RFP strategy is I only bid on the freight I know I can move. I don't subscribe to the I'm going to bid on everything and provide a price.
Spray and pray?
Yeah, the spray and pray model. I only bid on the freight that I know I can effectively move. And I mean, I wasn't always that way, right? But again, reality kind of slaps you in the face a couple of times and you realize like, fuck, I bit off more than I can chew. And I think that a lot of people fail to realize that you're never going to get punished for like saying I can't do something, right? Like really, I've actually found more success with customers by if they come to me with the same day opportunity and I can't accommodate it and being like, hey, that I don't have anything for you. Every single time. Thank you for your honesty. We really greatly appreciate that. Every time.
Yeah. There's customers that come to us with same day opportunities and say, hey, like they know that really same day stuff's not in our wheelhouse because we are really pre-sourced and we know who our loads are going to days in advance. Because typically a same day, like our carriers just don't work same day. They don't. They're going to have, typically the carriers that we work with are probably 70% contract freight. So they know what their network looks like and we fit in, on one side of it or another. But customers will say, hey, can you help us anyway? And because you did a good job for us, because you track 100% of the time. And I think that when you're adding a little bit, again, the tracking, like this customer loves that we track 100% of the time for them. We're the only broker somehow, and we don't move a massive amount of freight for them that gives them tracking on 100% of their loads. Like how do you?
Dude, I am noticing such good for me and good for you trend out there is that somehow over these last couple of years, people stopped fucking doing their jobs, right? And again, like I've interviewed a lot of shippers, man.
Because it was easy.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It was easy, but they provided worse fucking service and higher prices, right? I have been on multiple RFP calls. I have been on multiple customer onboards this year. And again, I'm not trying to sell like, oh, we're fucking busting at the seams and we got all this shit. It's a fucking process to onboard people, because what I've noticed this go around in getting back in and building things up is it's harder to onboard, but once you're onboarded, it is so fucking easy to separate yourself from the competition based on what you're talking about there, Tim. Because a lot of the feedback I've gotten, I'll break it down as simple as this: just fucking update us on our loads. Please let us know what's going on with our freight. If that's the expectation that's out there, like, fucking strap in, you guys. Freight Coach Logistics is fucking coming for everything.
Yeah, it was so easy for 2 years. It was, hey, just get this load off my dock. It's got, just, I don't care what you do with it, just get it off my dock and deliver it at some point. And people got comfortable with that. Dispatchers got comfortable with it. Carrier sales got comfortable with it. And now, as brokers are seeing, like, shippers are eliminating brokers. I mean, I disagree with that strategy. But that's another conversation for another time. I don't want to shit on any shippers right now.
I would highly advise you don't.
But it's just, there's just, like, just do your job. And, if you do your job, you're not a shithead, and you're going to succeed. Like, eventually, even if you're struggling right now to get business, like, you'll get your big break.
Yes.
And you'll do it right. And you know what? Referrals go a long way. People talk, go to conferences, have people throw your name. Like, I
just think, I think that, because I've talked about this for a while, man. It's like, since there's like instant results in everything in society right now, like, if you want food, you can get food delivered, coffee delivered, fucking whatever you want delivered, is that, like, they think that it kind of bleeds over. And, it's really tough to build stuff, you guys. It's very tough to build. And customers aren't replaceable, right? Like, I don't know how that has ever been like a thing, but customers are not replaceable at all. And if people are out there willingly working with you and paying you thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars a month, because there are some shippers out there that spend millions of dollars a month with certain providers, you can't take that shit for granted. And you have to do everything in your power to keep that, because what eventually happens is if you stopped caring, if you start thinking that this is just, you get complacent. There are people out there that are so fucking hungry, they will do anything. And before you know it, your market share will be gone. You cannot rely on anything other than your give a fuck about your customer's business, right? Because you can't automate a relationship. And I think that that is one thing that is kind of overlooked. And again, I'm going to be honest, 95% of my day should be automated, right? I should not be manually building loads. I should not be manually doing anything other than calling people so they know what's going on, right? I can't automate somebody understanding how much I fucking appreciate and care about their business. You can't do it.
Nope. I mean, relationships go a long way, especially right now. And even when, and it's going to turn, when the market does turn, like, you're going to want to work with the shippers that stuck with you throughout this, this downturn, because it's cyclical. It happens. I think hopefully a lot of people learned a lot over the last 2 years, because it doesn't matter what happened, in 2008, 2009, like, that wasn't, I don't think, obviously there was a major downturn, but not to what we're seeing now. 29, I guess, is more comparable to 2019. But you just want to stick with those people that understand, like, hey, there's a cost to do business. There's a cost to manage those carrier relationships. We're giving you a portion of our business. Mm-hmm. Know that we're going to take care of it. And at the end of the day, like, they're going to take care of you. And really, like you said, not automating that relationship. Emails saying, hey, like, nobody cares about that. Pick up the phone. Like, so many of my relationships in this business go far beyond, like, the transaction. We're in group texts. We're talking every day. Like, we're shooting the shit. We're like, I don't want to say friends, because there's obviously, like, it is still a business, but like, you do care about that person, and, like, reaching out and understanding, like, what that person's day is like, man, it goes a long way. And then your name is in their head all the time.
That's exactly it. And we're already at time. I try and keep this show to 30 minutes, Tim,
Ugh,
because
whatever.
I know I do whatever the fuck I want, but like I got freight moving. Like I got bids to work on too.
Yeah, we do
But,
too.
man, it's just one of those things though that again, and this is why I appreciate you and your perspective on a lot of things, is because it's like there was nothing that Tim was talking about right here that was any cause of concern or alarm other than you just got to show up and execute every single day. And I think it is
Simple.
as simple as that. You just got to worry about today. You got to worry about your four walls. Stop paying attention to the sensationalization that is out there on the social media realm, right? Because it's terrible out there, right? Like fucking the
Right.
sky's falling, everything's burning, fucking run for cover. And here's one thing that I've came to realize, and I'm gonna wrap the show up with this. If everybody is running to the right, turn around to the left and fucking sprint, because everybody is normally wrong. All right.
Right.
Just throwing that out there. But how does anybody reach out to you, Tim?
LinkedIn's the best way to find me. Tim Breckenridge. You'll find me there. And just keep working hard.
Yep.
Like that's the biggest thing. If you work hard, pound the phones, whether it's carrier, customer, whatever, bust your ass.
That's right. Well, that's going to be it for today, you guys. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll have Tim back on. You guys don't worry about that. He'll be back on, but we'll be back tomorrow. And as always, you guys, if you guys got value in what you heard here today, subscribe and share the show. You guys rank the show out there, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, because that's how we grow. That's how we become the top transportation podcast, is because of each and every one of you. And that if you see value in it, your network's going to see value in it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon. And now I don't have